Hey guys, welcome back to another redstone video. Today I will show you how you can make a wither rose farm using a zombie spawner. The nice thing about this farm is that you can build it anywhere in the overworld where you find a zombie spawner, so you don't need any special blocks like bedrock or special bedrock formations even in order to build this farm. You can build this anywhere. And it's also 100% safe in case you operate the farm correctly. Wouldn't say the farm is idiot-proof. You still need to pay attention to some details, especially if you leave the area, in order to not break the wither cage, but I'll also show you in this video how to do that. So let's check out how this farm works first before we do the tutorial. So we got a wizard trapped right here that can't move freely. So as you can see, the wizard's hitbox is larger than the 3 white gap, so it can't move out of that space. At the moment he's trying to track the villager on the left and another villager on the right. We have to distinguish between the main head tracking a villager and the side heads tracking the other villager. The main head is tracking the villager on the left but doesn't have direct eye contact because this trapdoor here is closed. And that has the advantage that the main head doesn't shoot skulls at the villager on the left. If he would shoot skulls, there's unfortunately a 1 in 1000 chance that the main head would shoot a blue skull, which would break blocks. If you would now open this, it mostly shoots black skulls, which don't break the blocks here, but this wouldn't be safe in the long run, so we couldn't use the main head to kill zombies. So we have to use the side heads in order to kill the zombies, which are incoming from the zombie spawner at the top, since they only shoot the black skulls. The way the side head tracking works is that it actually also takes the main head as the center of the eyesight. So as you can see here through the gap here in the middle, there's direct eye contact with the villager on the right, and the side heads try to shoot at it. Alright, so the zombies that are incoming, then killed by the black skulls, shot by the wizard, and there's a good chance that this would generate a wither rose. Unfortunately, we don't get a wither rose for every single zombie that is getting killed. This is pretty much the same issue why this doesn't work with chickens. It's the first thing I tried, but unfortunately it seems like the explosion that would actually generate wither rose destroys that item immediately again. So unfortunately we have to use a taller mob, almost too high mob like the zombie. We couldn't just use chickens instead. At the top we have a normal zombie spawner that would spawn about 505 zombies per hour. We funnel the mobs into drop chute, and all the zombies that would spawn without fall damage reducing armor, 100 kills, then taken out by the wizard. At the moment we're not using this contraption to the full potential. At the moment only zombies would land in the right chamber, but if you happen to come across a double zombie spawner, you could even use the second chamber on the left as well. Unfortunately, double zombie spawners are not really common anymore. They were a lot more common in the older versions, so pre 1.7. So now it takes quite a while to find such a double zombie spawner in the current state of the game. It's also not possible to use a skeleton spawner instead, because if there's a skeleton that has some fall damage reducing armor and is getting attacked by the wizard, would shoot arrows back at the wizard, so that's why we're using zombies. Farm with a single zombie spawner would produce about 420 wither roses per hour. If you happen to come across a double zombie spawner, then you would get 840 wither roses per hour. I experimented a lot around with the perfect height to drop the zombies onto. I'm using soul sand right now, and this seems like it's optimum, gives you the highest amount of wither roses. Also tried around with slight variations like carpet or trapdoors in there, but yeah, I got less wither roses this way, but it seems like this is really the optimum height where to get the highest amount of wither roses. Next, let's talk about the little bit of maintenance work I need to do in order to prevent the wizard from doing harm, or in a worst case, even from escaping. Problem are server restarts, or if you would leave your single player world and join back in again, because in that case the wizard loses track of its targets. And with the current state of the farm, where the main head doesn't have direct eye contact with the village on the left, he can't track the village on the left again, and would instead track the village on the right. By default he would always track the closest target, which in case he has direct eye contact is the village on the left, but yeah, let's just check it out and see what happens. So the main head is now, yeah, flipped around, attacking this village instead, and also since he has direct eye contact, it's also shooting skulls, which the 1 in 1,000 chance are actually blue skulls that would break those blocks. It's not a big deal. In case you actually get a blue skull, you just need to replace some of those blocks later. It's really unlikely to get like several blue skulls in a row. They would, yeah, remove all of the blocks and basically give the wizard access to the villager to kill it. So this is really unlikely. That would happen in a couple of seconds, but over a couple of hours, this eventually will happen. Right, so now the main head would keep tracking the villager on the right until it succeeds killing it, or if it's out of range. So it's not enough now just open this trapdoor, since the one on the left is closer. No, that's not enough. We actually need to move the villager away, and that's also how the reset mechanism works. We'll just send this one out. Same time we open the trapdoor here on the left, some redstone. Now the main head or the wizard turns around again, shoots at this villager, and then we close the trapdoor again, and also make sure the side heads are tracking the villager on the right again. Side heads also need to be kept busy by having a target, otherwise there's also a chance of random blue skulls. Right, so this is really the case in case you get surprised by a server restart or your game crashes. In this case you have this reset option, but there's also a way you can leave the area in a more intended way, which requires less effort and is a bit safer. So in case you say I'm gonna log out now, you can also just open this trapdoor and log back in. In this case the wizard would track the right villager and then quickly close it again to prevent him from shooting more skulls. The little downside of this is that there's still this really tiny chance that you get a blue skull, which will break some blocks. But in case it just happens once, not a big deal. Might need to replace some blocks again, and yeah, then the farm works fine again. In case you leave this unsupervised in the wrong state where the main head can shoot skulls, eventually after a couple of hours the wizard would escape. So yeah, definitely try to prevent that. By the way, unloading those chunks, so by just flying away and coming back later, is fine. The wizard would still track the correct villager. It's only server restarts or logging out of a single player world where the wizard would lose track of its target. Another thing that also could go wrong in a normal survival world is that the wizard would track other entities around the zombie spawner area. For example, it wouldn't be aggressive towards zombies or skeletons by default, but for example, if some animals would get in there, or even Enderman teleporting in there, it could happen that the wizard would actually track an Enderman instead. But just need to prevent that and just pay attention what happens around the wizard cage. You can also encase the wizard with blocks in order to prevent him tracking other entities. But here in this creative world, there's just void around, it's not necessary. Alright, time to build this farm. Here you can see a full material list, including the zombie spawner. Of course, if you build this underground, you probably need a couple of fewer building blocks, since you only need to dig out the area. Apart from that, that's important to use obsidian there, since the initial explosion of the wizard would take out other blocks. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Of course, you also need materials in order to summon in the wizard, so you need 4 additional soul sand and wizard skulls. You also need the 2 villagers and 2 minecarts. I would definitely recommend to start with the zombie spawner farm, since the spawner is the only non-movable block. Everything has to be built around it. Last week I actually made a new 1.14 tutorial for the most efficient dungeon spawner farm, and I would just recommend to watch the tutorial in that video in case it's unclear how to do that, and we'll just continue from there. So in the video description you can find a link to a zombie spawner. In this case it was a skeleton spawner farm tutorial, but works the same with skeletons and zombies. Alright, so we should have arrived at this step right here. So we got a zombie spawner farm, and now the one important part is that we funnel them into a little tunnel in order to actually prevent them from jumping up before they fall down. Would have the hole right there. Then sometimes it would jump up a little bit, then the fall height would actually kill them. That's why it's important to have a little tunnel here, just to prevent them from jumping. Now we need to go down a certain amount of blocks, so they are one-hit kills. I would definitely recommend to also close this while you're working on it. And now we have to go down 21 more blocks. So we already got basically this block here where the water is on. And we need to go down 2 blocks, so 60, 20, 21. Now we're gonna place a soul sand marker block. That's where the zombies are gonna drop down onto later. And we can take that marker point now to build the wizard cage around it. Alright, so we got the spawner now and the marker block. Time to build the wizard cage. I'm gonna put the wizard here on the left and obsidian structure for it on the right, but you're free to wherever you want it. Alright, so I'm gonna put up 3 high here. On right as well. Here in front, it's the side towards the wizard. 1 block. And here 2 blocks. Okay, then we're gonna put another blocks here on top, and here we leave a gap of 1 block, leave a gap of 2 blocks. Right. In case you have the double zombie spawner farm, I'm gonna do the same side up here. So like this. Later we also need to place iron trapdoors in those spots, but the initial wizard explosion will just blow them up. You can save the materials, just place them after we summoned in the wizard. I don't think there's a way around the issue. Next, let's build the actual containment cell for the wizard. So get some temporary blocks. We need to go down 1 block here, so like this. And place some blocks around, also one at the bottom. The wizard will be put in there. We also need to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks and place another obsidian there. Alright, you probably want to contain the wizard a bit more. You can also place some obsidian blocks here on the side to prevent the wizard targeting something different. That's probably a good idea also to put up some walls here on the side. So like this. Right, but it's optional. Here in this creative world I don't need it. So I'll leave it out for better visibility. Now let's continue on the left side. We need to go over a couple of blocks. So those glazed terracotta temporary blocks, 4, 5, 6, 7, then go up 1. And now here we place obsidian again. So like this. Also still using obsidian here because it doesn't get blown by the initial explosion. For the blue wizard skulls it wouldn't matter. Right, that's why we also can use normal blocks here in the back. So we need 5 more. And also at the top. Then we need some slabs. Place them here the first row, the 3rd row, and the 2 in the back. And for the other 2, placing iron trapdoors. So basically this little gap makes sure that the wizard can still see the villager, but the wizard skulls get blown up because they collide with either the slabs or the trapdoors. Right, your villager will be put on top of this block here. You can keep him in a minecart, just surround him. A couple of slabs to make sure it doesn't fall out or gets attacked or whatever from other mobs. You can also completely encase him. Alright, then let's go over to the other side. There we need to go out 6 blocks. 5, 6. And then we need normal blocks. 5 like that, also 5 at the top. And slabs here. Okay, let's move those temporary blocks again. On the right, we're also going to put a minecart track, which is able to move the village away. So put a unpowered golden rail right there and get the villager in. Okay, no, it's taking off the wrong direction. We will stop there. Then normal rail, and then we need 27 more rails, so we move him far enough away. Okay, now he's stopped there. And the next step could actually now summon in the wizard. One last thing I'm going to add is add a switch for this iron trapdoor here. So just go below, add a torch and a lever to this block. And I just noticed I placed the iron trapdoor wrong. It's actually important that you place it in a way so it would close like this. Okay, then let's add the lever. Yeah. Okay, then next step, let's summon in the wizard. Gonna prepare a little bit because I want to do that in survival so you can see that this is indeed possible. Alright, I'm now in survival mode. Let's get him in. So we need to place soul sand here and 3 soul sand there. Then just attach the wizard skulls. What I maybe want to do also is prepare those iron trapdoors so you can replace them again. And also you need to move away like 20-25 blocks so the wizard doesn't target you instead of the villagers. And as soon as the villager is spawned in, or the initial explosion, you need to close the trapdoor here on the left so it doesn't continue shooting skulls. Okay, let's do this. Okay, gonna move away a little bit, wait for the explosion. Alright. Okay, now we're good. Okay, what I want to do as well, sometimes some of those slabs here get blown up by the initial explosion. I want to replace those and place the iron trapdoors again. Also the soul sand got blown up, but apart from that, the rest of the contraption is fine. Okay, so I replaced those blocks again that we need. So a trapdoor here, 2 there, and 2 here. Also I put the soul sand back. Now we can continue building the drop chute. Can use normal blocks again. Those might have been blown up if you would have placed them before, but now they're fine. Just connect it to the top. Just make sure that the zombies just don't fall out to the side. Okay. Also keeps the light level low inside of the spawn, of course. As a side effect. Alright, then yeah, I can already remove the block again so the zombies can get down. And that's actually pretty much it. Now I just need a hopper below the soul sand and you should get your first wizard roses. There we go, we already have 2. The last thing we need is the reset mechanism in case the mainhead is tracking the wrong villager after a server restart. So we can build that afterwards. So we just basically need to power this golden rail for a moment. The villager is currently standing on. Doesn't really matter how many blocks you go out there. So the idea is that we just put a button there, wire it up. Just putting a few blocks away from the wizard. Right, then on the other side we need a pulse extender just to open a trapdoor for a moment. Okay. So in order to do so, get a repeater, 6 comparators. Now here we put down the comparators. This. And 2 redstone dust here. And then another repeater. Putting the signal in. Now let's just hook it up to the button. Alright, that's pretty much it. So yeah, in case something goes wrong, you can press the button. This would reset yeah, the wizard. Okay, closes again. Now the side has tracked the village on the right again. Alright, we're done with the tutorial. Maybe one more note, you can also make a similar farm using the same wizard cage in the nether dimension or the end dimension like I'm doing here, using endermen. But it's a bit finicky, especially if you restart the server or log out and log back in again. Since the wizard would also try to attack the enderman. So in this case you really need to make sure that there's not a single enderman nearby anymore, otherwise the wizard would just track the wrong entity. So I had some issues doing that concept. Quite confident I could solve all of the issues, but it's definitely easiest to just use a zombie spawner. Also have the issue with the enderman teleporting different spots, which all can be solved, but it's definitely more finicky to use the end dimension for that. But it has the big advantage that, yeah, it's a lot faster. So this farm already would produce about 2,800 wizard roses per hour, and you could even use multiple wizard cages instead of just one. So I'm quite confident you could definitely get maybe 10 to 20,000 wizard roses this way if you really want to. And this would actually make the wizard rose or the wizard rose farm viable alternative, for example, to a squid ink farm if you just need it for black dye. It's quite interesting, but yeah, I made a tutorial about the spawner farm because it's the easiest, we have the least amount of issues. And also 400 wizard roses is quite a lot, unless you plan to build something insane. It should also be enough for a normal farm. Alright, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.